The Oregon Ducks opened Big Ten play with a lackluster 34-14 win at Northwestern, but likely came away the better for it. Welcome to Talkin Ducks. I'm Aaron Fentress of the Oregonian and Oregon Live. Once again, filling in for Jordan Kent, who had a minor family issue which left him playing daddy daycare today and put me in charge of Fentress Daycare, trying to keep in line Anthony and George. Today we will talk about lessons learned by Lake Michigan and how the Ducks can grow from those lessons. Also, what happened across the country that caused the Ducks to fall 2 spots in the poll. With that, and also we'll take a look at Oregon State too, I guess. Might as well talk about that as well. But with that, let's bring in Anthony and George. And just so you guys know, there will be juice boxes and snacks available after each break. So let's keep it calm and copacetic today while Fentress is running the daycare center. How are you guys doing? How was your weekend?
Well, I'm not going to do anything you say because you're not my boss. So
you're not my
you're not
daddy.
The boss of me.
You're not my daddy.
I knew you'd be the problem child. I knew that. I knew that coming in. I've already had a talk with your family about that. So anyway.
Okay.
All right, let's get to our opening drive, brought to you by Guarantee Chevrolet. All right. The Ducks didn't look great, didn't look bad. What were your initial takeaways from this win at Northwestern against an inferior opponent, but one definitely better than the first 2 teams Oregon played?
I think it's exactly what you wanted, which was a dominating performance. However, it also gave you exactly what you wanted, something to be able to nitpick, something to be able to say, listen, man, we weren't happy with this. This wasn't good enough, to where there enhances a little bit of concern for the players, and it allows the coaches to be able to nitpick some things and say, oh, yeah, that worked against Northwestern, but is it going to work against Indiana? Is it going to work against Penn State? No. And the standard has to be the standard, even if you're up 34-0 in the fourth quarter, and 79-yard runs are not allowed. And so I thought it was a great win because you were never threatened, but it also was a great win because it also allowed there to be a lot of coaching and a lot of elevation of the standard, while also going on the road in an environment with no juice, 12,000 people, tough conditions, 9 a.m., multiple time zones. It provided everything that this team needed to grow.
Now, Anthony, you coach at Westland, right? I can't.
Yeah, correct.
Westland. You guys win a lot of football games. You win a lot of football games by a lot, but you, as a coach, you know, though, that sometimes you need adversity. You need things to go wrong to help convince your kids that they're not as good as they are. So let me ask you this. Was it good for them to face that type of adversity in this game, even though it wasn't against a high-end opponent? It was definitely against a team that's going to finish maybe 2-10 maybe, but at least you got yourself in a position where you faced some problems and had to overcome them.
Well, we also have to understand that those players are coached also, and those are D1 football players. So they know how to play the game. There's some guys on there that may play in the NFL, may play in the league. Adversity is big, because it's part of football. It happens all the time. That's part of the game. So you have to understand it's always the next play that counts. You finish the play, you mess up, you look around, you go, okay, made a mistake, let's move forward, and you will correct those mistakes the next week during film session. But adversity, it wasn't adversity where you're like, uh-oh, hey, what's going on here? There were some missed coverages, there were some broken tackles. I'm not going to say this is for an excuse. It's not an excuse. And George, you said it. It's a factor. That 9 a.m., it's 9 a.m. West Coast, but it's 12 o'clock East Coast. That's tough. I mean, if you're there for a whole week and you can adjust, yes, but you're there for a couple of days. So it's a little tough. You're trying to adjust. And in that first quarter, looked like Oregon offense and defense, they were trying to adjust to the whole situation. First time traveling for the young kids. Again, it's not an excuse. You play football, you play it anywhere, anytime. But it's still a factor to most of those young kids for the first time dealing with that situation.
Football is an emotional sport, as everyone who's played it knows. You have to play with sort of a level of emotion to get yourself to your highest level. And so, 9 a.m. kickoff, you're playing a team you're favored to beat by 28. You've just beat 2 teams by a combined score of 120 to 17 or whatever it was. You know you're better. It's windy. There's thunderstorms and lightning, which were freaking me out before the game. But it stopped. It stopped before I had to actually go to the game. Thank goodness. And it's a cool setting, but it's only 12,000 people. Where even though you're on the road and you know the crowd's against you, when there's still 50, 60,000 people and they're rabid, that gets you fired up because now you feel like, oh, it's just us against the world, right?
Yeah, that's not enough people to rattle you. That's not enough
right,
noise,
exactly. You're kind of looking
when
around
it's
like
open. It's open on the other side like a high school stadium.
It's a high school stadium.
So
the lake was beautiful, by the way.
Dude, there's not enough. Yeah, there's not enough to get even true freshmen rattled in that situation.
I almost was waiting for the Duck fans to be like telling the Northwestern fans, "Can y'all make some noise or something so we can get jacked up?"
So I got a question for.
Go ahead.
Both of you guys though.
Sure.
So when you look at Oregon's first 4 games, you got Montana State, then Oklahoma State, then Northwestern, and then now Oregon State, right? Who do you think is going to be better prepared in 2 weeks? Because Penn State played a bad FIU team. Then they played Nevada, who's down this year. Then they played Villanova, and then they're on a bye. Like, I think that game in Penn State in a couple weeks, because everything's preparing you for these big games. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, I think that Penn State's at a disadvantage in terms of being ready for that week compared to Oregon's schedule.
It's an interesting question, right? Because they will have the week off, which an extra week to prepare, which is nice. But you have to imagine that Oregon is doing some initial prep for that before that week anyway. But Oregon will have played 4 games in a row and will be coming off a game, so maybe they're a little sharper, right? It's going to be interesting. What do you think, Anthony?
Well, I think, there's 2 games that Oregon, you got 1 game to play yet, but the Northwestern, the traveling, that's a whole different situation and trying to play in front of 12,000 people only. And then Oregon State, it's a team that you have to beat. If there's a team it's a rival team that hey, we got to beat these guys. And Oregon State's going to be fired up, so it's going to be a different atmosphere for that game. Everybody's going to be pumped up that first quarter until the better teams kind of pulls away. But still, I think those 2 games will help you more compared to what Penn State's been dealing with.
Yeah.
All right. Before we move on, real quick, any red flags at all for any of you? Anything that stuck out? I know we're going to talk about some things at length later on, but anything that stuck out at all that made you go, Anthony, start with you.
Well, you're getting nitpicky on certain things. But running the football, teams have to run the football against Oregon to keep that Oregon offense off the field. And there were some times when Northwestern was running inside between the B gaps, between the tackles. And, they were getting 5 yards a pop, and you don't want that. But I say this all the time, and my kids hear it all the time. Yards don't beat you, points do. So they're going to get some runs. This game was made for offense to win. It's officiated for offense to win. So they're going to get yards. You just have to keep them out of the end zone. And for 3 quarters, Oregon did a great job of keeping them out of the end zone with the starters. So
Newman, if you take away that late 79-yard run,
I know.
36 for 99. 36 carries for 99 yards.
Yeah.
Now my nitpick is on the run game for Oregon. I wanted to see, and yes, the D'Air Hill. Now, on the flip side, if you take out the D'Air Hill run,
right,
you're averaging like 3 yards a carry.
Yeah.
And that was a little, like, if I'm looking at it, that's where the juice needed to be brought. And when they play Oregon State this week, I am looking for that to improve dramatically because you have to be able to run the football. You have to. And that would be of high concern. The way you can be in third and manageables and not have to be in, get stuffed for, 1 yard or 2 yards or 3 yards on first down when you can be in, 2nd and 4. 2nd and 5, which is a lot easier to play football.
George, I got a quick question for you. George. And the running back room. It's great to have all those running backs. It's lovely. I know the running back coach is so happy he gets to rotate all the guys. But it's hard to get loose when you only get 2 or 3 carries a game.
Oh, that's
And,
gonna
and
stop. That's gonna come to an
okay,
end.
okay, that's what.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you right
That's
now.
the-
So the this game, the roster will get significantly shorter for a couple of reasons. One, Oregon plays 77 players in the first game, 81 in the second game, and then obviously less in this game because you can't take the entire team on the road. But you also have had the majority of these players play in 3 games. They get 4 games before they burn their red shirts for the freshmen. So
Yeah,
you're actually going to see the roster shorten
yeah,
dramatically
yeah,
this game because in case they need a game later, like like last year, you didn't see in some of the blowouts, you didn't see Dante Moore
Right. Because you had
specifically
to save
because they
him.
wanted to
yeah.
save his red shirt. So
Right.
you're going to see that with some of the players. So the roster is going to get significantly shorter. But in the running back room, De'Aaron Hill is going to play, and so is Jordan Davison. They are
Yep.
going to play. But I do believe that you're right, Anthony, that like we got to figure out who the back is. Like
Yes.
and I know that they kept Noah out for precautionary reasons, but we got to have a guy who's like, yo, I'm ready for 20 carries if we need to, 25 carries, 30 carries if we need to.
All right. Great job there, guys. Jumping ahead about 3 segments. That's okay. We'll end right there and come back for segment 2 and dive more into the offense next on Talkin Ducks. Not to nitpick, but can you walk us through the interception?
Yeah, it's been a little while since I, of course, threw a pick. Not even for this season, but it's been about 2 years. And I know my freshman self would have been like, damn, like, it's chewing me alive. I'm, like, looking at the play over and over, like, just devastated after the pick. But, now the mindset I have now is just next play. Of course, I didn't have the chance to play the rest of the game. But overall, I mean, the ghost throw picks, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning. So a lot of those happen. It's just the way of playing quarterback. But I feel like I always tell everybody I'm not a big statistical guy. I'm not big on just, stats, touchdowns. I'm just the biggest part is just seeing everybody's faces after the win, make sure you won, smiling, and, it's going from there.
That was going against the wind, did it?
Yeah.
Like you ended through it a little bit. Not
Yeah, it's
Did it catch it?
yeah, Mother Nature. This on play playing on Lake Michigan. It's
That was quarterback Dante Moore talking about his first interception of the season on the day. Pretty good one for him. 16 of 20, 178 yards and a touchdown with that one interception. Let's start with you, George. Your impressions of Dante, given everything, right? He didn't light it up. But he didn't have to. It was windy out there. The running game was just okay. The bottom line is he got the job done with efficiency. He got the job done converting on third down when he needed to put up the 34 points that they scored in 3 quarters because he was done right after the pick, which was the first play of the 4th quarter. How would you grade out his day?
I mean, are you going to answer the question for me? Nah, for real.
Sorry.
I thought he had a good day. I thought that his third down performance was really good because Oregon got themselves into some third and long situations and he delivered. He stepped up, made some throws on time, and threw into some windows as people were like the one dig he threw to DeCorian Moore on third down.
Yeah.
The linebacker had just turned his head and then boop, ball zipped right by him. Like that's a special throw. Like he made a couple throws in that game where you're like, oh, that's a Sunday throw right there. That's an NFL throw.
The deep out or corner to Malik was nice.
Yes, that was
Yes.
excellent as well,
Yeah.
and that was on a rollout.
That was on the move, yeah.
And so initially on the first drive, I was a little frustrated because he did not throw a big post. I think it was on third down, and then the ball went into a little bit of traffic. I was like, that was a touchdown right there. But then Aaron, earlier when we were talking, he talked about how windy it was there and how
Yes,
the
it
punts
was.
were getting knocked down. And then I thought, wow, maybe he saw it because the Ducks were going into the wind on that first drive, and he may have turned it down because the wind was so bad. And then I thought, oh, wow, that actually gave me even more confidence that he's making good decisions. But then as the game went on, he did throw that pick because there's a guy I play with, Byron Leftwich. And when the weather would get bad, Byron would be like, "Listen, man, don't worry about it. My arm's weatherproof." And I think Dante, who's played, when you're playing in Detroit and you're playing in
Yeah.
Michigan, you're gonna get some wind. And he's like, "Yo, brother, my arm's weatherproof." And then he found out it ain't that weatherproof. The wind conquers all.
Absolutely. Newman, Lanning was asked this from James Crepea, who I work with at the Oregonian, because he wrote about this particular drive. That drive where he completed the pass to DeCorian Moore was on a 3rd and 11. And they began that drive on their own 11. They're only up 10-0. And they marched 89 yards and ended with the 20-yard touchdown to Sadiq, which was also a great pass.
Yeah.
So it's a situation where, yeah, the volume wasn't there, the high-end stats weren't there. But like Newman said, he converted what he needed to on 3rd down. He had that big drive to put him up 17-0 at halftime. As a defensive coordinator, when you feel like you're doing a decent job against the run and you got a quarterback who's sticking throws like that on 3rd down, how frustrating is that, and how impressed with you with how he performed, even though it was small sample sizes throughout the game?
Well, any team that has a great quarterback, that's a problem for you, for the defense. And then you have a quarterback that can maybe also run a little bit. That's more of a problem. But Dante, just remember, okay, he's not perfect. So that interception, come on. I mean, the ball might have floated because of the wind. Who knows? No one knows. Aaron, you were there, so you know if it was windy or not. They said it was pretty windy. Yeah, it was bad. So those things are going to happen. But let's also talk about not only Dante Moore. He's a stud, no doubt about it. He's the guy. He's the captain of the ship. But he has a supporting cast. And so if I'm looking at this team, trying to defend this team, I'm talking about their offensive line. We can't get to the quarterback. Dante's not touched at all. Like, how do we get to the quarterback? So if we blitz, well, here's the problem. They got a gang of receivers. Now we got to go one-on-one with the receivers. Well, do I have enough DBs to cover the receivers? Let alone we got to stop the running game. There's different backs that can do different things, catching the ball out of the backfield. They're going to block, help with protection. So the offense creates problems for a defensive guy. And having Dante Moore at quarterback, that creates more of a problem. And he just seems so calm out there. He seems like he's been there for a long, long time. And he seems like a veteran. Maybe he is a veteran. I mean, he played as a freshman down at UCLA and did poorly and learned a lot from it. Sat behind Gabriel the whole year. So this kid is pretty good.
All right. So let's move on to probably my main nitpick, and that would be, as we look ahead to Penn State, that would be the running game. You're going to have to be able to run the ball against Penn State. We all know they have 2 really good edge rushers. Their defense is loaded. Their offense is pretty damn good. Like, that's going to be a tough environment to play in, et cetera. So you got to be able to run the football, which is something this team wants to do. That's why they went out and got these big, giant, veteran linemen to help that offensive line. But in this game, I would have liked to have seen them, dealing with the elements. You're dealing with the wind, not a big crowd, et cetera. But you're going against a team that's physical, but still not on your level. I would have liked to have seen them rush for 250. Instead, you take away the Darier Hill run. You got 110 on 29 carries, 3.7 or whatever per carry. That's not overly impressive. So I'll come to you first, George. Is that at least a concern somewhat moving forward when you got better teams coming up?
So it would be of more concern had they not shown the ability to run the ball previously. But in these 3 games, I believe, and then this Oregon State game as well, I believe that this has been all preparation to go to Happy Valley. That all of this, in terms of what they're putting on film, because if you notice, they were more vanilla in this game than they were the last week. Like, they have not, like, Will Stein has put different formations, different under center, in shotgun, wildcat, all this stuff on film. But they have been, in terms of their intricacies of the offense, like, they've only shown probably 30-40% of what's possible. And I believe that all of this is to play a little bit coy against Penn State. And when Penn State they're going to be studying tape and they're going to say, okay, here's what they did in the Big Ten championship game. Here's what they're doing this season with Dante. We haven't really seen too much quarterback run at all. And so you're like, so they're going to be preparing for something. And if they have planned it properly, they will be zagging when Penn State thinks they're zigging. And that is the entire, I believe that with my whole heart, that has been the entire plan for the beginning of this season, which is to play vanilla and to figure out who the people are that need to be on the field, that figure out the personnel and then figure out the plays and your scheme along that process in terms of figuring out who's going to be there. So now you know what you can do.
And of course, if you're doing that, if you're playing chess and you're preparing that way, you have 4 games to do it, and you're not showing everything you can show, then you're probably going to have games like this where maybe you're not quite as explosive, but you don't need to be. All right. With that, let's move on to our next segment. After this commercial break, we're going to come back and talk more about the defense. 3, 2, welcome back to Talkin Ducks. All right, the Oregon defense pitched a shutout through 3 quarters. You can't do much better than that. However, there were a couple of drives that Northwestern had where they moved the ball at 8 o'clock. One was over 6 minutes. Another one to start the 3rd quarter was 7 minutes before the Ducks got the ball back. Coach Lanning said himself after the game that he felt like that some of the success they had on defense was because Northwestern shot themselves in the foot, especially with the interceptions. Let's go to you, Newman. Look, you can't do better than shutting someone out. We're going to talk about the 4th quarter later, but those first 3 quarters, were there any concerns, though, with the fact that Northwestern was able to use their physicality to move the ball on the ground? And from my perspective, if they had at least a good, maybe not even great, but just good passing attack, they could have scored some points in this game and maybe made it interesting.
Hold on, Newman. Can you give him the answer? Give him the answer. Give him the slogan.
Yards don't lead to points.
Yards don't
You
beat
can
you.
have all the
Only
yards
points.
you want. But that's my point, though. If you had a quarterback, they might have scored points.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Period. Come on now. Yeah, Northwestern could have had a running back. They could have had an offensive lineman. They could have had a good receiver. They could have had a better coach.
If and as pots and pans, the whole world would be a kitchen.
But Penn State's going to have those things, so that's where you have to think. Okay, if they give up running plays like that against this team, what's going to happen when they play a team that's stacked at offensive line and running back and has a good quarterback?
No. Let me educate you on this. Let me educate you on this.
Break it down.
Here's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for RP. That's relentless pursuit to the football. I'm looking for 11 guys getting to the football. Because one guy on the other team can't beat you. If he's got the ball in his hand, one guy's not going to fake everybody out. He's going to fake a few guys out, but not everybody. Second thing, no explosion plays. We can't have the quick hitters. We want those 15-play drives because in that 15-play drive, you're going to make a mistake and we're going to jump on you. And you're not going to be consistent because offensive coordinators, they're not patient. They want to take a shot. They want to, hey, let's go deep. I want to get that touchdown so we can celebrate. That's not going to happen. Second.
It's true.
Well, and think about this, okay? No broken coverages. The guys are not just not covering somebody. That will hurt you. All of a sudden, well, who has that guy? That guy's wide open. So now you're just giving them points. And you can't do that against a good football team, against Penn State, against, any Ohio State. There's no way. We haven't seen that with this defense. And that's
Preach.
A positive.
Tell him, coach.
That's a positive. That's what you want.
There were several times where Preston Stone, the quarterback for Northwestern, was in trouble, running for his life, doing whatever. And then you glance downfield to the secondary, and dudes are covered. So they did do a good job. There's no doubt about that.
First of all, it was young guys in the game. And second, broken plays happen. That's a part of football. That's not scheme. Because you know why? Because the initial route was covered. And all of a sudden now the running back's running, the quarterback's running for his life. And it's like, oh, okay. So, yeah, maybe you had bad eyes as a DB. I'm looking at the quarterback. Also, my receiver turned around.
Whoa, calm down. I said the DBs did a good job.
No, but you said the guy was wide open because the quarterback scrambled.
I said guys weren't open.
Okay.
Sometimes I would look at Preston Stone. He'd be running for his life or getting sacked. And then you glance at the secondary and guys are covered.
See, you're not my teacher. Wait, you're not my teacher, so you got me fired up.
Basically what happened is you heard my voice.
Jordan's not here.
You automatically were like, Ventures is talking. And I'm like, on your side, homie.
See, we listen to Jordan. We don't listen to you, Aaron.
Clearly. I thought I was going to run Ventures daycare. I'm getting my ass kicked right now. All right, let's change the subject and go to George. Okay, so Fourth quarter, after the pick, Dante's out. We start seeing more backups come in, and they gave up a touchdown drive that included a 40-yard pass, which is what no one's talking about. And then later they gave up the 79-yard run. Now, from my perspective, Northwestern's just trying to score. They got their dudes out there still. They're trying to make plays. You're throwing a bunch of young kids out there. They're going to make mistakes. They're not ready necessarily for. Let me finish. They're not ready for that level yet. But if you're Coach Lanning, you expect them to at least be doing their job. So yeah, you're going to give up some stuff, but a guy shouldn't be wide open for a 40-yard catch, and no running back from Northwestern should be going 79 against you. I can't wait for someone to catch him, and no one did. Clearly, there were mistakes made in their run fit there. So, George, your opinion on that fourth quarter and Lanning's response to it?
He's 100% right.
Yeah.
He's 100% right. The standard is the standard. I don't care whether you're second string, third string, walk on, my mama go out there. Don't matter.
Yes.
Make the
I knew
tackle,
the mom was coming.
Make the play. We don't no excuses.
No excuse.
No, as Coach Radcliffe would say, no excuses, no messengers, no sympathy groups. Nothing.
I heard the same thing long time ago.
Yes.
He's still
we
preaching.
Do not
yes.
care. We do not care that it was the fourth quarter. We do not care that Northwestern was just trying to score. We do not care. So if you cannot make sure that does not happen, if they go down on a long drive against the backups and they still have the starters in, so be it. And they go on a 12-play drive, so be it. But you can't just let people just pew, pew, pew down the field. That means that part, that's got to get fixed because what happens with backups is when you have an injury, you get into a jam, or even for next season, those are the people that are going to be in. And if you want a national championship type team, those are the guys that got to hold down the fort.
Okay, let's go to you, Newman, before we go to break here. So you obliterated two teams. Like, it was just embarrassing, really. So this game, you still were dominant. You still were clearly the better team. But, to what George was talking about, guys living up to the standard, you put some humility on film, right? You got a little bit of humble pie on film. How important is that, not just for the younger guys, but for the veteran guys too, to see a little bit of failure and learn from it before a big game like Penn State coming up?
Well, again, to piggyback what George was talking about and what Dan Lanning said, I understand him. I'm a coach, and when you put the third and fourth string in there, you got to handle your business. Otherwise, you don't play. You come back on the sideline and stand next to me, because you're one play away from getting in the game, because the football is a collision sport, because injuries happen. So if you're not showing what you could do on the field, and I'm not happy with it, hey, nope, next. Who's my next guy? And it was that simple. So that's what Dan was talking about. We can't have that. We don't. Our backups don't play that way. We all stay at the same level, at a high level of football, and so that's why I was also frustrated with it as well.
And one of the things that people don't know about how Oregon practices is it's not just first team versus the scout team and all. They actually mix up the rosters. That way, then so you got ones going with twos going with threes, ones going with three. So everybody's kind of mixed up all the time. So it's competitive at practice at every single level.
Yeah.
Great point. All right, next up, we're going to look ahead to the Oregon State game on Saturday and talk about, the history and the future of what used to be called the Civil War. Next on Talkin Ducks. Welcome back to Talkin Ducks. I got George and Anthony under my spell now because I gave them those juice boxes and orange slices, so they're happy. You guys happy now, guys? You guys calm down?
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Okay, good.
No, we don't die, we multiply.
I had to give you guys a little bit of sugar jolt to calm you down a little bit. All right, next up for the Ducks, Oregon State. Team that's struggling. They got blown out by Cal. Not blown out, lost a relatively close game against Fresno State, and then just demolished by Texas Tech this past week. They are struggling in all phases of the game, but we're not going to have this game next year, it looks like, because both teams have their non-conference locked in already for next season. But according to Rob Mullins of the Oregon Ducks, AD, he says they're going to try to start resuming it again in 2027 moving forward. Start with you, Newman. How do you feel about the game being paused for the first time in 80 years since, I think, World War II, And do you think this game should continue given the gulf between the two programs?
Well, for me, it's a personal thing. I mean, I grew up in the state. So I grew up with the Civil War, Oregon State. I never lost to the Beavers, just to let you know. So I had to put that in there.
But you lost your daughter to a Beaver. So.
Don't go. That's what I was getting ready to talk about. Yeah, that's the problem. So, right now I got to hear from my son-in-law, Jaden Grant, about his Beavers and how they beat Oregon when I was at the game watching and all that kind of crap. But I missed it. You will miss that. I mean, that's when you're talking about your neighbors and your friends and people in the state of Oregon, it's a lot of talk. It's a lot of fun. There's no hatred. It's just it's competition. It's the rights. I guess the rights to talk trash to somebody else after you beat them for 4 years straight. So, yeah, but I understand the business side of it. I understand that you have Oregon. No disrespect, Oregon State, but you have Oregon going in a different direction. You have Oregon State going. I don't know if it's downhill, but they're going south. So I don't know if that's down, but it's south. Okay, so I understand what has to happen, but I'm going to miss it if they pause it.
Yeah,
George?
For me, this is now. I'm not the sympathy in sports kind of person. Like you got to play.
You're
with your
cutthroat. You're
but,
cutthroat.
But this is honestly, this is one of the few things that feels wrong to me. What's happened to Washington State and what's happened to Oregon State in terms of them just getting jilted and left with no. I mean, it would be like parents divorcing and then like leaving the kids in just putting them in a homeless shelter without food, water, a credit card, nothing. And it feels wrong. And Oregon State is a proud university. Playing against them, like that Oregon is the quote unquote haves, but Oregon State was still that team that just a couple years ago was still able to beat Oregon. So, but now the gulf is so wide that the game still being played, it honestly feels like disrespect to Oregon State because I respect them and their history. And it's like, it almost feels like that it should be a buy game, that Oregon should be paying Oregon State $1.5 million to play this game. And that feels wrong. Like it feels like charity, and Oregon State's a blue-collar school, and that feels wrong. And so I wish there was some other way to do it, but I don't want to disrespect them. And it's weird because even though it's such a big rivalry, it doesn't have that hate like Anthony was talking about, a guy who grew up in the state like Oregon does with Washington. It's like bragging rights as opposed to like hatred. Like you can just enjoy the game, talk trash to each other, and then go on a picnic after.
So Oregon State won 2 out of 3 in 20 and 22 before these last two. And then they came back from 31-10 down to Dan Lanning a couple years ago. So, they were competitive right there for a while. And then, boom, it's falling apart. And the gap is becoming greater, clearly. But I will say this. Oregon's going to play a team every year that they're going to pay to come get beaten up. So it might as well be Oregon State because you helped them out, no?
True.
Newman?
Yeah,
I mean, if I'm going to give $1 million to somebody, I'd rather give it to Oregon State.
I agree with that part of it, but it just doesn't feel right to Oregon State, if that makes sense. I would continue it if they want to continue it. I would leave it on their terms. I'm like, if you want this to be a buy game, then you guys can be our buy game. If you don't, then I understand that. Then we'll go do something else.
Okay. Let's get to the matchup. How ugly could this get? Because this Texas Tech put a whooping on Oregon State the other day. Their passing game has had a lot of yards, but only 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. The running game has been pretty suspect. The defense clearly getting lit up. They're going to be completely overmatched at virtually every position on the field. Could this be as bad as Montana State, Oklahoma State, or could Oregon State come in there and with Trent Bray, good defensive coordinator, as the head coach, come in and sort of keep things relatively reasonable like Northwestern did? Newman, start with you.
Well, I look at the players on the team. You have to play the football game and you have to execute to win the game. But Oregon has so many dudes. I mean, they really do. And Oregon State, in the last few years they had some players, but they lost a lot of those players. A lot of those players took off. They don't have those dudes. They really don't. So now it's about numbers. And when you're talking about you putting guys on the field who can play, who can run, you can't cover them just because you're not fast enough. It's that simple. It's not about scheme. He's faster than you, or he's bigger than you. He's gonna pancake you.
Right.
What else do you do? So this could get ugly, but it's still a rival game. So there may be some hype for the first quarter, and then it's just going to be overtaken with athletes just running down the field, and you can't catch them.
All right, George, what do you think?
Man, I'm excited about this matchup, bro. I am excited. I'm more excited about these jerseys, so that the Ducks are going to wear. And now, this is probably going to be a bloodbath, but I am also excited to see how the Ducks respond after that Northwestern game. I want to see them be physical. I want to see them push people around. And I want to see these young DBs. Oh, I want to see some balls flying at them. I want to see the pass breakups. I want to see these young pups get a chance to eat.
All right, next up, we're going to take a look around the country and try and rationalize why the Ducks won but fell 2 spots in the AP poll. That's next on Talkin Ducks. It's not often that teams ranked as highly as Oregon was at number 4 can win and fall 2 spots, but they did, falling behind Miami and Georgia. Both programs had much better wins and have played tougher schedules to date. George, let's start with you. Was it fair for the AP writers, people out there like me, people that you make fun of and that you threaten from time to time, had the nerve to vote Oregon down a couple spots after they won? What do you think?
Fair? Nobody care about fair. Listen. This is all eye test subjective. When you win a game and they're like, oh, it's a Northwestern, and then somebody else beats oh my God, they beat Florida. Florida stinks right now. So, but at the same time, the name on the front of the jersey matters a little bit. But I promise you, if Oregon goes into Happy Valley in a couple weeks and curb stomps them, you don't have to worry about where they will be ranked. They will probably be the number 1 team in the nation if they do that. So I wouldn't worry about it. You are still so far within striking range when you have ranked teams. You're literally coming up on the meat of your schedule. And so is everybody else. Other teams are gonna lose. If you take care of your business, you don't have to worry about where you're ranked. That's the cool part about it. Oregon is still in a spot where they control their own destiny. Even if they lose at Penn State, they still control their own destiny. Just win your games, and you don't have to worry about, because you are in that upper echelon of teams that people in their mind believe, oh my gosh, this is one of the best teams in America. This is one of the best rosters in America. So people are going to give you the benefit of the doubt, and you haven't even needed that yet. So I like that.
So Anthony, Miami has wins over Notre Dame. They have wins over, a win over Notre Dame, a win over South Florida. Georgia just beat Tennessee. The Ducks have beaten absolutely no one. What do you think about what that says about them in comparison to these programs who have better wins to date? I'm just poking. Poking the bear.
Are you kidding me? Are you asking me about rankings? You're asking me about rankings right now?
Yes, I am. It's on the rundown. I got to ask about it.
We talk about practice?
We talking about rundown? We talking about rankings?
September?
I mean, yeah, come on. You know what? Okay, let's be professional about this. I'm at school, right? You're my teacher. I got to respect my teacher.
Anthony, young Newman, answer the question, Mr. Newman.
Hey, I'm a little upset, but Oregon has to keep playing, and good things will happen. Just like George said, you go into Penn State and beat them, you may be number 1. So good luck to them. It's all going to be good. Is that okay?
All right. That was fair. Real quick, George. Did anything happen across the country? Did any team emerge from this past weekend that sort of made you go, they could be pretty good?
Miami. That's about it.
Oh, yeah.
That's literally
LSU? What about LSU? LSU?
No offense, man.
No,
They got no
LSU's
offense.
offense.
Okay,
Newman, I
okay.
don't think you know what's going on with their offense.
They're averaging like
I
50
they
points
were-
a game or something
I
like that.
Nussmeier.
Hey, yes, no.
Play with his
It's
dad.
not
He's
for
not
lack
bad.
of players. They were 4 for 14 on third down against Florida. They got Newman. They only scored 20 points and they got 5 interceptions, including one of them was a pick six.
Yep.
Okay.
And then
They've scored
against
60 points in 3
Clemson,
games with the pick six. Yep.
Yes,
What about
and
their
then-
defense? The
Defense is
good.
money.
They played
Defense is
two
money.
terrible offenses. Clemson's offense looks god awful right now,
True.
and Florida's offense looks atrocious
Okay.
too. So I don't even know what to make of LSU at this point in time. I
Okay.
think they're getting the good fortunes of playing against bad teams and it looking better right now.
I got you.
All right.
I got you.
That's it on that topic. I was just poking the bear there, Newman. I knew how you respond to that. All right, next up, we're going to give you our predictions for Oregon State. All right, we're back for our final segment. We're going to give our predictions on the game. But first, I got to do my helmet swap. We got to take out Northwestern. We got to put up Oregon State. Take down these scores from last week. I'm ready for the big game on Saturday now. All right, Anthony Newman, you have a son-in-law in the house, so I imagine you have to temper your prediction a little bit, maybe. But what do you want to see from the Ducks, and what do you think the score might be?
Well, I want Oregon to go out there and do what they're supposed to do, and that's whoop that tail. Not even make it close. And it won't be close. I'm telling you that right now. Oregon's offense is unstoppable. There's too many guys, too many weapons, and the defense is playing well. And George talked about those young DBs, all of them 6'3", 6'4". Kingston Lopa 6'5" as a safety coming
6'2",
downhill, hitting running backs.
6'1".
Come on, this game won't be close. It won't be. Just letting you know.
We heard it, George.
Bloodbath. I mean, this is going to be one of those games that these guys that they go back home and they tell their kids when they're accountants, doctors, lawyers, or something like, yo, I played against them dudes. Man, they were for real. That's kind of one of the games. I don't even know where to predict. 66 to. I'm gonna go 59-13.
I've got 53-13. Newman, you didn't give me a score.
Okay, I'll say 52-10.
Okay.
Do
only-
we understand how outrageous that this is and how spoiled that we are? That we're talking about where the program is now. We're wondering if a team is underrated at number 6, if they're being treated fairly, and we're talking about 50. This is just normal behavior. There were times where the toilet bowl happened. This was a 0-0 game less than 50 years ago, and now this is where we are. Man, this is life. This is the dream.
Well, I can say that also right now because I know Jaden's not going to listen to the show, so I can say those things.
It's only a dream for half the state. It's still unfair what happened to Oregon State. We all know that. The payroll discrepancy obviously is crazy, but it's going to be 53-13, somewhere in that range. It doesn't matter once you get to that type of score. The only thing I want to see from Oregon, get that running game rolling. Get it fine-tuned again so you're ready going into Penn State because you're going to have to be able to run the football well in that game. All right, that's it for the Fentress Daycare edition of Talkin Ducks. Hopefully, Jordan will be back next week, and we'll be talking about a 4-0 Ducks team as they prepare for the game of the year at Penn State.